All fat men at the age of 15 are gifted a sword, a blade, from the President of the United States in this country. Little known fact. Yeah, I got mine when I hit 280. It is day 37. Welcome back to the show. What is the show? My name is Brendan Mitchell, and I am a writer and an overall interesting kind of guy. And I'm technically making a series about me losing 80 pounds. Is that really what this is about? No. As anyone who watches the show knows, it's not really what this is about. I do happen to be losing 80 pounds, and I do cover lifting and dieting, and I talk about those things pretty often. And due to the fact that I'm a big old fatty boom batty, I have to talk about that pretty often too, because it actually has a dramatic impact on your life, unfortunately. But what's important is today I made a mistake. I made a huge mistake today, and I know what you're thinking. I'm supposed to be infallible. People on the internet are supposed to be incapable of wrongdoing. And as soon as you realize someone that you like has done something wrong, you should destroy them to the very last fiber. That is the standard we must hold one another to on the YouTube and on the internet. What mistake did I make? Today, I woke up and I was kind of not feeling a little groggy, feeling a little weird. I got the things I had to do out of the way. And then I started to kind of feel like I didn't want to do anything else. I kind of, I had a day free, and I thought, what, I'm going to play a game. I'm going to play a game a little bit before I do the other important things I usually do. Usually I try to, if I'm going to play a game, I want it to be last. I'm the type of guy that I don't like to know I have to do something later. I want to get it done now. I'm a rip the Band-Aid off guy. If you tell me, hey, your arm might have to be chopped off in a week, I'm going to say chop it off now. Even if there's a chance I keep the arm, just chop it off now. I can't snap my fingers too well. Let's do it. So I tried to play a game, and I thought, let me check how I play a lot of games. Let's get that out of the way. Streaming on Saturday, come on by. I thought, let me check out the subreddit for one game I play, Path of Exile. And then I'll check out the subreddit for the other game I play, Street Fighter. And then I'll check out the subreddit for another game I play. Doesn't matter what the game is. Every single one of these communities was in a state of extreme chaos and misery. Every one of them. No place was safe. It was page after page, post after post of dooming to a degree that I'm literally not emotionally capable of. And it had me thinking, it made me feel like I couldn't escape the utter unhealth of the human mind in 2025. It had me thinking that, and it also had me think, I guess there's no antidote to this. There's nothing that I can do. Nothing will solve the negativity problem. And I want to get one thing out of the way. Negativity as a word, negativity, is often misused by people that don't like what they're hearing. Negativity is kind of like words like it's kind of like empathy, and it's kind of like inappropriate in that they are vague, concussive, powerful terms that are often used in an intentionally manipulative way. It's difficult to parse at times when that manipulation is taking place, and it's of course a generalization that I'm making, so who knows. But generally, I find when people say, oh, that's so negative, oh, they're being so negative, a little alarm goes off in my head, and I think, who am I listening to, and what are they talking about, and why are they using this term? Now, the unfortunate truth of the matter is, when you go into an environment that's supposed to be about a toy, a Street Fighter is a toy, a video game is a toy. That's all it is. Just in case you're ever up in arms. It's a toy. So if you are angry about your toy and you feel helpless about your toy and it's really affecting you as opposed to putting the toy down and getting a new toy, something may be going on there. You may just be very passionate, but you also have to ask yourself, are you passionate, or are you feeling so helpless about this thing that you need for reasons that you probably shouldn't have, that you feel you must engage with it in this way? You must leave a comment because you're so angry, and you must do this. That's not healthy. It's never been healthy. You can't convince me it's healthy. You can't say, well, I think people just really like the game, and that's why they're so angry. I think that you should get a different toy. Do I think that means people shouldn't voice their opinions or they shouldn't go on the internet and talk about? No, I understand there is a place for that and it does make some sense. However, generally on the internet, things are happening in emotional multitudes. So when something is bad, it's very bad. And also, of course, this has been done to death. You don't need me to tell you. Everything you interface with as a human being right now, your phone, your computer, the internet in its entirety, it runs on frustrations, because as a human being, the thing that will cause the most clicks and get you the most invested in something is negative. It's just the way we're wired. It doesn't really even need to be contemplated at length. The reality is bad news is more interesting than good news, more often than not. And it's easier to be angry than to be happy. And in some ways, in some sick ways, it feels better to be angry. Also, if you're stupid, it feels smart to be angry. It's very common that people that think that they're being intellectual are really just being contrarian. And when you are intentionally negative about something, there is often some part of you that thinks that's because you have a intellectual upper hand in an observation of something. Like if you've ever met someone that goes, oh, well, actually, Godfather is a shit movie. And it's like, okay, what's the pitch? Come on, here, you're the smart one. Let's go. Bit of a dramatic, comparison, but I digress. Point being, online you can't escape it. There's no goddamn escape. You just can't get away. And I feel for people. I feel for people that struggle with managing this reality, that you are surrounded on all sides by extreme negativity. It's such a, as I've said, it's a word that I don't think that quite does the job. It doesn't pull its weight. It's way too easy to use sloppily, but it is true. All I wanted to do was play a goddamn game. And then I'm suddenly going, oh no, the games are all bad and everything is, oh no. And I do get affected by these things, by the way. I'm not a stone wall here. It's not like I go, when I read all that stuff, it has no effect on me. I do get affected by these things. In fact, all humans do. Humans are intentionally, by design, easy to influence, and we influence one another. Very often I've met people that go, oh, if someone near me is in a bad mood, I get in a bad mood too. That's not unique. That's called being a person. By our nature, we take social cues, we filter them into our unconscious, and then we reflect them onto our environment. So that's just how it works. So the reality is you're surrounded on all sides. You're beset. There is a Macedonian phalanx, 50,000 spears pointed at your head when you look north, when you look west, when you look east. And all you want to do is play fucking Mario Party. So what are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do? Not pretending I have the answer, by the way. So, if you're going to click off the video because you thought I would give you one, you're welcome to do it now. But here's the reality, nobody has an answer. All you could do is find out what best measurements, what tincture, what amount of poison suits your body. What are your biomechanisms, How much cyanide can you intake on a daily basis? And how easy is it for you to negotiate between what is true negativity in the sense of pointing out an issue and what is someone being a whiny little freak? So, what is what? You have to find out on your own. And more importantly, you have to ask yourself if you're the problem. I hired someone once. That's right. I've been given responsibility before in my life. Not now. I hired someone once, and the first thing they said to me was, I just don't do workplace drama. And because I was young, I didn't realize that should have told me that was the workplace drama. The workplace drama was right in front of me. Lo and behold, I hired that person and they were the workplace drama. Trust me. So granted, again, it's almost an old wives' tale. It's not a useful rule of thumb, but you have to ask yourself if you just may be the problem. And are you the problem in a passive way? Even if you're just engaging with this type of content in a way by looking at it and allowing it to affect you, you're also participating. So what can you do? Can you turn off everything? No, it's just completely unrealistic. I've kind of removed myself from life in a lot of ways, and I'm not realistic. The amount I've done it is unrealistic. I need certain internet facilities. I need the infrastructure. I need social media. I need YouTube. I need these things. I want to build an environment where I require these things. So you have to find a way to protect yourself from the onslaught. How do you do this? Well, first, you have to find out why you're getting so angry and so easily affected by the negativity of others. And I mean extending outside of the parameters of you as a human being, feeling like you need to socially replicate the feelings of the people around you. Is your life okay? Are you okay? And when I say okay, I mean, can you wake up? Do you have your family? Do you take care of yourself? Are you trying to take care of others? Or are you, what's going on around you? Because what's likely happening if you're spending your time on the internet in a state of rage, what is likely happening is there are things in your actual life that are not good. And you are going on the internet because you feel helpless, and that is one of the small ways you feel like you're doing something when you are on the internet complaining or are on the internet fighting. That's not real. That's not actually helping you. So you may want to follow that feeling of anger and go, oh, I'm actually not, I know I'm wasting my time doing this. I need to fix my life. Now, that's a bigger problem. That's a bigger question. And I can think of a counter argument to this that I may hear on the internet often. And when I mean a counter argument, I mean a counter argument to involving yourself in emotionally high stake situations that do not actually directly impact your day to day life. You may instinctually refer to a word that is actually my biggest picadillo, and that's empathy. Now I'm going to pause for a second because I can talk about this specific word and its misuse for a long time, and I will likely begin to get angry myself. Just to put it out there, I am often angry. I'm often not in control of my emotions. I often struggle not to be affected by things on the internet. All of those things happen to me too. I'm not positioning myself in any special way. And anyone who is lying to you. So just keep that in mind as well. It's the extent to which I allow it to affect my actual life. The way I speak to my wife, the way I talk to my mother, the way I interface with strangers. That is when it becomes a problem. Or, God forbid, it gets in the way of me doing the things I need to do for me or for money or for life. Empathy. I generally have no tolerance for this word. Empathy is traditionally a word used as a sort of atomic bomb to take an argument to a level where you're forced into a position to match someone else's emotional state. And it's presented generally as a kind of gotcha. Whenever someone tries to be clever with the way that they say that you're wrong, you can always feel certain in yourself that you know the person you're dealing with is being dishonest. Probably not even intentionally dishonest. But if I say, I don't have time to talk about, care about, or react to a problem that's happening over there, and you say, where's your empathy? My reaction to that is, you are being manipulative, you don't know what you're talking about, and you're either a bad person or a dumb person in this engagement. Here's what I have empathy for. I want to be sure that I can take care of myself and the people close to me without any of us getting hurt or getting ill. I also would like to do good things for the structures around me, the community around me, my neighbors, things that I can literally touch and feel and aid within my willpower. Now, I don't have enough willpower to be conscientious of every single problem happening, especially when they happen at such an explicit and rapid pace to people that are very far away or to people that I cannot connect with on any level. And then the response to that may be, well, how can you not connect with someone who's going through this and going through this? And now you're playing a dangerous game because you're going to start to play chess with me. And the chess match is going to be who can prove the other somehow isn't righteous. And that's just a game. It's not real life. It's not real life. Whatever you're upset about right now that's occurring in the world, I can assure you that there was a moment in time, if not right now, that something as awful, if not significantly worse, is occurring that you not only do know about, but you don't really give a shit about either. And it's not because you lack empathy. It's because you have a finite ability to affect your environment and control your emotional space within the limited amount of time you have on Earth. This does not mean that I'm dismissive of world events or dismissive of the trials of others. However, I don't think that this use of the term empathy is somehow a filler for getting people to behave and do what I want. It's not good enough. It's a term used generally by vicious bullies. That's just the truth. You know, a lot of people often cite things like 1984 or they cite Aldous Huxley's work, and they like to make these referrals to dystopian books that they've misinterpreted or have never read. And that's because they're dumb. Now, the reason that they do this is because they're under the impression that in those books, a great fascist empire controlled language by burning all the books and not letting people speak their mind. But actually, the great evil in those books are generally marked as people that use language like righteousness, like empathy, and twist it around to make it so that their enemies are actually the ones that are not caring enough about the problems that are occurring. It's a almost three-dimensional chess game that's occurring that makes it so that no matter what your opponent says, they are wrong on the presumed social moral level. This is a waste of time. And if anyone does it to me, I go, bye, and I don't talk to them anymore because that's not something I'm too smart for it. And you should be too. So why do I bring up empathy? Why did I go on this tangent on this word that's generally used in a completely abusive manner? Because it's also connected to people that think that you should also be negative. How many people in your life have been upset about something that then get mad at you that you're not upset too? And it's like, well, first of all, we would have to develop a kind of technology where we could measure one another's upsetness, right? Because I actually am upset. I'm merely not displaying it in an open forum, or I'm merely not using it to affect the people around me. It doesn't mean I'm not upset. Maybe I'm quite upset. You wouldn't know. What you're actually saying is not that you're unhappy that I'm not upset. You're unhappy that I'm not trying to manipulate my environment in the way that you think I should because of this situation. Do you see what I'm getting at here? Anyway, empathy. It is not an actual tool of measurement. It is not a yardstick. And it cannot be utilized in any serious way by any serious person. The reality is simply this. My next door neighbor recently died, and it made me very sad. He was a really good man in my estimation, as limited as that estimation was. And he had an important role in my wife and I's moving to where we live now. He was like the guardian of the block. And I felt incredibly sad that he died. But then I just went on laughing and got drunk and watched The Grinch. This was right around Christmas. The misery perhaps filtered in the back of my mind, but more accurately, what it was is this was not someone that I was incredibly close with. And I've had enough death in my life that whenever I'm hit by the boomerang of mortality and I watch it go back to its caster, I do not break down into a million pieces. It's just not something I have the emotional availability to do anymore. I've done it too many times. And I feel this way about a lot of things in life. And it doesn't mean that I'm cold-hearted. And I think if your instinct is to refer to people that don't emotionally invest in things as cold-hearted or as unempathetic, I've got a pitch for you. I think you're not very smart. I just think you lack the skills to navigate what makes people do the things they do. And realistically, when people use terms like empathy and negativity, it's really just because they want what they want from you now. And I do not permit that in my life. I suggest you do the same. So what is today's video about, folks? What are we talking about today? I just wanted to play Street Fighter. I just wanted to play Tekken. I just wanted to play Path of Exile, and everyone's freaking out. Everyone's in a rage at all times. How do you contest with a deeply sick world full of deeply enraged people? And don't tell me, well, they have every right to be enraged. I don't care. I don't care. I have to get up, and I have to breathe the same air every day. And I don't like it when my presence is tinkered by things I have no control over. So what do you do? What do you do? You go and turn on the game and you stop, you don't look at the community. This is why I've always been so... rule number one, if you want to play a game, just play it. Don't find out what other people think about it, right? Because it's going to influence your opinion. You may think you have the strongest mind in the world. Oh, you're so clever and you're so intellectual and your thoughts are your own and I am the one who's different. Everyone I've ever known, they don't know secretly I'm the hero. No, you hear an opinion and it affects you immediately. Like, boo, it's yours. Someone's opinion, it goes right into your head, and you translate it either as your opinion or not your opinion, and that immediately affects you. So if you want to have fun and do something, probably just do it. And then maybe you'll find out how you really feel. But as soon as someone else gets their feelers into you, Then you never know. And what's especially dangerous about that as a human being, and this is the real kicker, you cannot begin to imagine how much it affects you when someone who you hate says something to you. Even if without that person, if the message was delivered by somebody else, you may completely agree with them. Now we're on a rocky road. Now things are starting to get frustrating because you're actually completely losing the capacity to define your own terms. And it's because you're getting messages from people you've already decided you hate, people who you probably, let's be real, don't know. It's tricky. It's tricky. And the topic of dealing with the negativity of modern life is endless. We could discuss this forever. But realistically, I just wanted to make this video because I had to get it out of the way and I wanted to talk. If you've listened this long, if you've listened to this whole rant, I don't write any of this down. I just go. Should be impressive enough. Like, comment, and subscribe. For the love of God. For the love of God. Like, comment, and subscribe. Imagine you were my boss. Do you think you're going to keep me around for long? No. No. They never do. So you gotta like, comment, and subscribe. Right? I'm in dire straits. Look, guys. Life is beautiful. I know, I bet it pisses some of you off to hear that. Life is beautiful, and you know what? You can't take it from me. You can't take it from me. You're welcome to come and try. But life is beautiful, and I'm going to love every second of it. And it doesn't matter where you put the emotional lever. It doesn't matter how hard you crank it down. It doesn't matter how hard it rains. It doesn't matter who you send. Life is beautiful. And I wish you well. Tuesday, day 37.